Hi everybody, welcome to 30-minute pull request. My name is Jacob Tomlinson. In these videos I try and find an issue on GitHub and raise a pull request to solve that issue in under 30 minutes. I've not done this for a little while. I kind of just had a bit of a break, mainly because I've been doing like new development rather than maintenance work. But wanted to pick this up again because I enjoy doing this kind of thing. You may notice I got a new camera if you've been watching this before. So hopefully that's good. So I'm just going to dive in. Let's start my timer and we'll have a look at which issue we're going to see today. So let me come over and turn on my scene switcher. And then we'll head over here. Okay, so this is the project page, my Git repo where I track all of my streaming stuff. If we head over to projects and 30-minute pull request, we can see I've got an issue flagged here that I think I'm going to tackle in this video. So title is API docs are broken. This is on Dask Cloud Provider. Dask Cloud Provider is a small library to help you launch Dask clusters onto various cloud platforms. And at the moment, Dask Cloud Provider supports Azure ML, Amazon ECS, and Amazon Fargate. But it looks like from the screenshot that Jim has raised here that the API docs are like not being rendered correctly here. So let's jump over some code and like immediately take a look at this. So actually, let's head to the docs. Let's go to Dask Cloud Provider just to see it in real life. Can't spell at all. Cloud Provider. Okay, Dask Cloud Provider, and if I head to API, yep, okay, so that looks exactly the same. We've got some links here that aren't working and nothing is there. I would expect the docs to be like, you know, showing the doc strings from the code. Like if I come over to the code and find one of these things like AWS, ECS, here we've got this ECS cluster. Is that this? Yes, this ECS cluster class, right, which is the same one we're referencing here. This has got doc strings and, you know, information. I would expect all this to be rendered out with Sphinx, and it's not. So let's first have a go at building this locally. So I'm in the repo. I'm in a conda environment called Dask Dev, which I've just kind of got all the upstream Dask libraries installed. What I'm going to do is just make sure I've got all the right requirements. So I think in doc here, I've got a requirements docs file. So let's just, because this is a new environment, let's make sure this is installed. I have done the tests, but let's do doc and requirements docs. Okay, pip install -r the docs requirements. Okay, so that's installed in NumPy-doc, which we didn't have before. Now if I cd into docs, this is a standard like Sphinx site. I guess it was made with the like auto Sphinx tool. So there's a make file in here, and we can do make HTML, which should build our docs for us. Now this will build into a directory in doc. So let's have a look. Here we go. Yep. So there's a directory called build here. Which will have the HTML in this directory here. So this is our built documentation now in doc HTML. So one way I quite like to test this in just another terminal, if I cd into doc, or is it _build HTML, and then do Python -m HTTP server, we can run a little Python web server from that location. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Here, if I open that up, oh, the wrong URL. Localhost 8000. Again, okay. So these are the docs that we just built into this static directory using Sphinx. If I head over to API, okay, everything looks kind of correct and as I would expect. Those things are all fine. This is what I would expect the documentation to look like. It's not the prettiest documentation. There's definitely things that could be improved in here, but this is building correctly. So this is going to be like a read the docs issue, I would have thought. So we need to go and have a look at read the docs and see what's going on there. We have a new config in here for read the docs. I don't think we do. Oh, hey Fabio. Hey, yeah, going well, thank you. How are you? No, I've not done this for a while, so it's nice to have you drop by. Right, yeah, we don't seem to have any read the docs config in here. There's some circle CI config. What's happening here? I think this is actual CI. There's no like doc CI going on. Okay, been having the most unproductive week. Why is that? Is it just the weather, or I'm super hot, right? I'm in my like funny little garage office, which in a couple of weeks I'm going to be actually upgrading with insulation and things, but it's been majorly hot in here, so I've been struggling to kind of concentrate a bit. Okay, yeah, there's no doc stuff going on here. Everything's going to be running in read the docs, and I'm guessing that this is some issue around like importing or building this. The Azure cluster was like the most recent one that was added, and perhaps that one it had some quite heavy dependencies, the Azure ML cluster, so I do wonder whether that's like the problem. So let's head to read the docs and log in. That's probably right. Let me just find my read the docs password. Yeah, I know the feeling. Sometimes you just have, you know, ups and downs in these things. Copy my password from my password manager and just flip back. Right. Yeah, remember me. Never saved that. Right, that's cloud provider. Okay, that's moaning about something else. I'm not worried. Right, let's have a look at builds and this latest build. That's cloud provider has no attribute ECS cluster. That's cloud provider has no attribute Azure ML cluster. Okay. Fail to import class from there. So this is what's going wrong here. It's failing to import these things. I'm guessing it's because it's failing to install them correctly. We have changed things actually. So let's just have a quick look. Previously, the requirements for read the docs, no, the requirements for DaaS Cloud Provider was pulling in all of the dependencies that you need, right? But DaaS Cloud Provider, the intention is that it's going to provide cluster managers for AWS and for Azure and for GCP and whoever, right? Any cloud platform is welcome to have a class in here for constructing DaaS clusters on their platform. But in order to do that, we use, you know, some of these cloud providers have their own native libraries. AWS has Boto. Azure ML have got their own like Azure ML package. And some of these are quite heavy dependencies, right? Like the Google one, you have to install Google SDK. So when we come to adding that, I assume that's going to be quite a large dependency. So a contributor recently, Joseph, added some extra packages here. So instead of having in our requirements Boto and the Azure ML SDK, we've added them as like an extras require. So we've got an AWS and an Azure extras require, and then we've also got an all extras require, which is, it just unpacks all of those. So if you pip install DaaS Cloud Provider, you actually don't get any of the dependencies. So I assume that maybe that's what's happening here. Although we are raising warnings about that, but let's try that as our first thing. So if I come into here and have a look at our advanced settings, we're installing those requirements, install project. Yeah, I wonder if this is kind of install your project inside a virtual env using setup pi install. But really, what we need to do is do like pip install all. Back to Google for that. Let's just search read the docs extras require. Stack Overflow here. Okay, there's a question, but look. Yeah, okay, so they've got a read the docs.yaml file, which has got this install method with extras require. So I wonder if we need to do something like that. This is like a question of like, I have a problem, I guess, and there is no answer. But let's just try copying what they've done here. So we've got this read the docs.yaml. Yeah, because I can't see anything in the GUI here. These settings could be created with the configuration file. That's just going to tell me to make this. Yeah, read the docs.yaml. Fine. So let's make that new file, read the docs.yaml. Let's have a new branch as well. Git checkout, new branch, and we're going to say fix read RTD. Okay. And then in here, okay, this is an example. I might copy their example from their question. That. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. But we want all here, extra requirements. And actually, we do also want this. Sorry, wrong button. Okay. Install method pip requirements. Okay. I think we probably want that as well. And we want to say docs. And then that file is called requirements-docs. Rename that and copy it. Like that. Right, so we're going to install, I can sort them in the other order. Okay, so we're going to pip install all packages, and then we're going to install the docs requirements. I'm hoping that's enough, but I think the only way to test this is to push this up. Now, let's just make sure we've got PR builds turned on. Build pull request for this project. Let's pick that. Do I have to save it? Yeah, save. So I say build PRs for this project, and now if I come back in and add this, I can raise a pull request. This is one of these ones where we're going to have to make some changes, push them up as a PR, and then wait for the build to happen and see whether the build's going to happen, which these are like risky ones to do in the 30-minute pull request, because sometimes you have to like wait a while for things to build. But let's give it a go. So let's add, I think it's just that read the docs file, isn't it? Oh, I grew up a level. Yeah, add, yeah, just that one. So update RTD install in config to include extra packages. I also want to just quickly check in here. Is this? Yeah, okay. This is the problem, right? Is that we're ignoring these import errors and the import errors, so it's saying that these packages don't exist. Might even just no. Let's push this. I've only got pre-commit set up here. I'm okay. This is telling me that. So I use pre-commit hooks in like a bunch of projects to make sure we run linting and stuff against code before we push it up. I guess it was just missing from this environment. There we go. Right, if I push this, and it'll tell me push it there. And then let's open a pull request for this. So I'm going to say closes, what was that issue? 136. Looks like docs have been broken since we made dependencies optional. This PR adds all optional dependencies to the RTD build. I'm going to mark it as a draft because we're going to like iterate on it. So let's say draft pull request. We should, there we go, we've got this read the docs PR build. So once that's done, we'll have a look at the logs, but let's just quickly come back here and have a look at this latest build. Warning failed to import, warning failed to import. So this is, can I import that? Can I import that? But I need to think out loud a bit more, don't I? One of the things we do is if I have a look at this AWS ECS provider, right up at the top, we've got this, try importing all of this stuff. But if there's an import error, raise this import error. Okay, so yeah, we're raising an import error to say, this is missing. Please install these this way. But then in here, we're suppressing those import errors, which it makes sense, right? I wonder whether we actually just need to change the fact that, you know, you can't import these anymore from here. Maybe you have to explicitly import, because otherwise those errors are just never going to get bubbled up. Yeah, I wonder whether like this AWS, like at the moment, if we have a look at the docs, I know the docs are a bit broken, but if we have a look at the docs, it says here from DAS Cloud Provider import Fargate cluster. I wonder whether we need to do like from DAS Cloud Provider dot AWS import Fargate cluster or something, and kind of namespace everything slightly differently and actually raise that error. And yeah, it's wonder if we can also catch like this error message where it's like attribute error, module DAS Cloud Provider has no attribute as UML cluster. Wonder if there's a way of like catching like this isn't here anymore, please import it this way in the future. That could be interesting. Right, let's have a look at these builds and see what's going on. Failed pull request revision. Could not open requirements file, no such file, docs/requirements docs.txt. Oh, it's because it's doc. Yeah, my bad. That's fine. Doc. Yeah, that is doc as well. Doc.conf and doc/ yeah. Okay. Git add -a git commit. Is that yeah? Git commit -m fix doc path. Push that. Try again. I feel like I maybe need to raise another issue as well and say, while this is building, I'm gonna have a bit of a Google about. So let's say, what do I want to do? I want to say, Python catch import error. I don't know if that's what we want. Because I do wonder whether, yeah, I wonder if I could do that actually. Sorry, I'm thinking in my brain and not articulating what I'm saying. So here we're saying try this and try this, but pass on the input errors. Whereas I think what we actually want to do is say, you know, raise the input error, but also like add our own message to it to say, alternatively, please import from the like package specific place. DAS Cloud Provider is not hugely intended for folks to do like import DAS Cloud Provider, but at the same time that should work. You should be able to do import DAS Cloud Provider, so you can at least do like, you know, get the version and things like that. We don't really want to be raising import errors like this. I want to catch that, don't I? So like Python move class from top level package or something. If this is just like a question I need to ask some folks, I don't necessarily know the answer. Let's see if this building failed again. Let's have a look. Okay, what's wrong? Sphinx error. Contents.rst not found. Contents.rst not found. Unknown directive type auto class. Okay, so some of the dependencies are missing now, which should be in. Yeah, okay, this is just me not doing things properly, right? This is doc/source/conf.py. So let's say now fix conf path. Oh yeah, I can't type either. Git commit. And then push that. This is what happens. I'm like copy pasting code from Stack Overflow without actually making sure the paths are right or that I'm reading anything properly, which is fine. It's because I'm like thinking about the kind of higher level problem of how should the imports work now. You know, should we? Nothing wrong ever happen from copying code from Stack Overflow. Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things, I think, in this situation, especially with config files. It's like, right, well, I'm going to copy a config file from somewhere else and change it. But it's not the best. Really, you should understand the config and then write it. But you know, nobody's going to memorize read the docs config file format unless you are, you know, you work to read the docs or something. But yeah, I should have checked these. I just assumed that these were like default locations. I don't know whether either the person asking the question was like using some other location or whether DAS cloud provider is different. I think generally it is called docs, not doc. Maybe this conf.py should be at the top and isn't or something. Anyway, let's have a look and see what's going on now. Okay, installing code in the PR. So that's fine. Yeah, I think preferably instead of doing this, it should be from DAS cloud provider.aws import Fargate cluster. And you know, from DAS cloud provider.azure import Azure ML cluster. But that's like a big, like it's like a breaking API change, right? We're gonna intentionally move packages around into what I think is probably a more logical grouping, and also it's going to group the dependencies, right? Because in theory, all the Azure packages are going to have like an Azure extra requires, so everything kind of falls under there, which means you don't have to catch and avoid that. The only thing I want to try and do is be like, if somebody tries to import ECS cluster from this top level, can we raise something to be like deprecation warning, this has been moved or something like that. So but I think this is maybe outside of the scope here. So let's see how that build. Oh, that build has passed. Lovely. Okay, that build's passed. Let's come back to my pull request here. I think this should show us the PR build. Okay, and if I head to API, everything is there. Fantastic. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So now the imports are working correctly. This is displaying. It doesn't look like this anymore. We have all of the info on our kind of local copy, and all the doc strings are being put out here. These docs need a write cleanup generally anyway. They're not the most amazing documentation for a project. I definitely want to come in and change that, but that pull request is working and I'm happy. So let's come back. A quick look at what we changed. So we just added this config file to say install this. This is like the magic bit. But the read the docs allows you to configure via the GUI or via a config file. So we've kind of moved some config from the GUI to a config file, and then added this extra bit. So please pip install the extra requirements as well. So let's shift this out of draft, ready for review. And I'm gonna, I know that somebody could just come in and ping this, but I'm just gonna go like that and take a screenshot here. Yep. Right, so I've taken a screenshot and I'm just going to paste that into here. There we go. Now things are working. I'm going to update that. And then I'm going to ping Jim for a review, since as he raised the issue. And there we go. That's it. That's my pull request. Happy that things are working there. And yeah, maybe this is like a future video. Actually, we got 5 minutes left of our timer. So let's come in here and say, yeah, I'll hit feature request. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's say restructure imports. Recently we made cloud provider dependencies optional. So if you want to use the Azure ML cluster manager, you need to pip install Dask cloud provider Azure. Let's say, so for example, if the Azure dependencies are missing, we raise an import. We raise an import error with info on how to install these dependencies. However, the Azure ML is imported at the root of the package, and to ensure that import Dask cloud provider still works, we catch the import error and suppress it. So if a user runs from Dask cloud provider dot providers dot Azure, is it Azure ML? No, it's Azure dot Azure ML. Import Azure ML cluster, they will see the correct error, but if they call from Dask cloud provider import Azure ML cluster, they will get an attribute error. Okay, because we're doing this here, right? We never actually end up, here it is. We never end up with the Azure ML cluster. To resolve this, I propose we change the name, we restructure the imports to make them more pleasant. Each provider should have a submodule under the root module, and users should import packages, import cluster managers from there. The top level package will not expose those cluster managers. This allows us to kind of to group optional dependencies within a submodule. Let's do some examples. E.g. from Dask cloud provider .aws import Fargate cluster from Dask cloud provider dot Azure import Azure ML cluster. Deprecations. This means that from Dask cloud provider import Fargate cluster will now always give an attribute error. It would be really nice to find a way to catch this and show a deprecation error with instructions on how to update things, on how to correctly import the class. I'm not sure how to do this, so input would be appreciated. Hopefully another maintainer will see this and give some input. Let's just make that Python as well. I know I've gone over now, but let's make that Python. That's fine. I've written up my issue. I'm going to submit that. So that's great. Now if I just head back to constrain.dev, I can't type at all today. Constrain.dev, and head to projects, 30-minute pull request. So I raised that PR here. So raised PRs is done. And I can tick this off because I've done that. So the last thing I'm just going to do is have a look through and see. So yes, let's have a look and see where we are. This PR that I moved over to stale PRs, which I was like, oh, maybe it's never going to get merged, actually finally got merged. So it's no longer stale, it got merged. Let's move that over into merged. I've also got this Helm cluster PR, which finally got merged by me. So let's move that over here as well. So we've got two others that sat here. This one needs a bit more work actually, so I need to pick that up at some point, and then the one we've just done today. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching the stream and the video. I hope this has been useful, kind of to show the debugging process, digging into, okay, Sphinx isn't working, what do we do, where do we look at things to get things working again. I'm gonna attempt to do these videos more frequently, who knows, but I appreciate you taking the time to watch this today, and I will catch you next time.